Guys, and welcome back to the vlog. I thought for this one we could do a fun little cozy, get to know each other a little better and talk about mental health. Mental health is a big part of my life, and especially when dealing with anxiety. So I thought we could just get a little comfy. Now that I notice I'm older, it's not as comfortable to sit in the stove and have a little beverage. I'm drinking the Alani New. It's the witch's brew, if you can see it. But this stuff slaps. It is so good. It is caramel apple, and you can actually taste the caramel apple. It doesn't just taste like chemicals and unknown. So it's definitely good. Not sponsored. You know, your girl just needs a little pick-me-up because she has 2 kids and 12,000 animals. And if you do see or hear any noise coming from over there, Dorian's actually playing right now. Luckily, he can play independently, so I can have a little video. You can hear his little voice in the background. He's so cute. So yeah, let's just chat about mental health. Where do I begin? I haven't always struggled with anxiety. It probably started showing itself about 9 or 10 years ago. Back in LA, driving for me was really hectic. And now you can see a little tail at the bottom. My dog is chasing my cat, so there's that. Oh, there he is. Hey, baby. Hi, baby. It started about 10 years ago. I noticed my anxiety would come up when driving. Since I never had anxiety before, I didn't know exactly what the feeling was. I thought I was just really nervous until I started having physical side effects where like my palms would get sweaty, I'd have shortness of breath, I noticed I started getting lightheaded, but like I would persevere and keep driving. It wasn't until one day I was driving on the freeway in the fast lane that I started tunnel visioning. And if you don't know what tunnel visioning is, it's basically when like your outer peripheral starts to go black and it just starts coming in, resembling a tunnel. And ultimately, if it keeps progressing, you're gonna black out. I started feeling that way in the fast lane and I panicked. And I'm pretty sure my body shifted into fight or flight mode. So I just swerved off the freeway. I don't remember even looking, to be honest. I freaked out and I just was like, crap, I gotta get off or I'm gonna pass out right here and cause like a 12-car collision and maybe not survive, I don't know. But I was like, the only way to survive this is just to beeline it off of the freeway. And that's what I did. After that, I didn't drive the freeway for a good 2 or more years. And luckily in LA, you don't have to. There are so many side streets and different options besides the freeway. It's not your only option. That's what I was trying to formulate into a sentence. So yeah, I just took the freeway and I was good, living life, happy little go-lucky until we moved to Georgia. And we decided to move on the south side of Savannah where you have to take a highway. It's not quite a freeway, but it's a highway that drives you into town that goes through the marsh and across a river. And although it is beautiful, my anxiety tells me it's a freeway. And I think in my brain, what classifies a freeway is when you're on a structured amount of lanes and there's no way to get out. And I think, and this is just a personal opinion, but I think it's also a way of feeling claustrophobic. And that's part of why I panic. And then being in a constant state of motion at an accelerated speed while having, you know, the sense of feeling claustrophobic, the physical aspects of anxiety, the intrusive thoughts about what might happen if all of these feelings continue to progress and escalate. And so I didn't drive it when we moved here. I didn't drive it for the first year. And then I decided this isn't a way to live. It's not a good quality of life, as you may say, to live in fear. And although it served me well for quite some time, I was over it. And I decided that I wanted to seek help and focus on my mental health. And that's where my medication for anxiety journey began. I talked to my primary doctor and told him what was going on, and he agreed that that's definitely not a happy life and not a good feeling to have, so he referred me to a psychiatrist. I saw this psychiatrist for about a year, and he was trying to help me find some good medication, but he wasn't a good fit. Main reasons for feeling that way is that I felt like he wasn't educating me enough on the side effects, what to expect. When I would switch from one medication to another, he didn't really explain what the process would be like. On a sidebar, he was a little older, and I think, hi Bubba, I think he may have been mentally over it in terms of his career, and he was just getting by. I don't know, that's kind of how it came across. Maybe he just didn't want to put as much effort into his patients as he once did. Again, this is just speculation and opinion, so I don't know, I wasn't around his whole career, but just that's kind of how it made me feel. I didn't realize I felt this way. I didn't realize I felt this way until I talked to my therapist about it, and she kind of told me, hey, you know, the psychiatrist has a reputation within the community for doing the things that you thought he did. So that was validating to have a trained professional tell me, like, hey, like, you're not just making like false assumptions about this person. That's kind of the common trend here. So in terms of medication, he started me off on Paxil, and I started taking Paxil. I was on it for a couple of months. It was good. It was good. Not at first. Okay, let's rewind. At first it was terrible. I didn't know how much going from not taking anxiety medications to taking anxiety medications would suck. It was the worst month of getting acclimated, and I think it's because it's changing things up in your brain and causing, you know, your body to produce more serotonin, and, you know, changing the way your brain works is a big deal. And hi, you have so much energy as it is. You do not need this. It was a big deal, and it made me feel awful. I was so dizzy. I was nauseous. At the time, our bedroom was upstairs, and I was scared to walk downstairs because my footing and my equilibrium and everything was so off. I thought I was gonna literally fall down the stairs. Like, I thought my legs would just become noodles and I would fall forward, and you know, the rest is history. So I would actually ask David to help me bring the kids downstairs. I didn't even want to help them downstairs because I was like, that's not a good situation to be in for myself, let alone me helping my children. So that was not going to happen. Once I got over that hump, I felt great. Things were going good. I noticed my anxiety was gone. I started doing, what did my therapist call it again? Exposure treatment. I started doing exposure treatment or exposure therapy. Either way, exposure to whatever is causing you anxiety in little tidbits. And then just, you know, as you start getting more comfortable, increasing the amount of exposure. And for me, this was driving. I would just go on the highway and do my best. And I noticed that the medication, like, I would start to feel like I was having the panic attack again, but it's like something like receptors or something in my brain would be like, no, like it's not happening. So it would stop my panic attack from happening, which was amazing. It also helped with my amount of patience, which was nice because I was starting to feel like a short fuse with my anxiety and just the kids and life. Probably my husband, I could ask him. But yeah, it was helping with a lot of stuff until it wasn't. It lasted for a good like 3 minutes, and 3 minutes 3 months. Yeah, 3 minutes until I snapped again. 3 months. It lasted for a good 3 months until I think my body started becoming acclimated, and I just started noticing it wasn't working as well. He put me on a higher dose of Paxil and was like, okay, well maybe your body is getting acclimated to it. Let's increase your dosage. Well, that didn't work because I felt like that increased my anxiety. And that is when I told him, hey, this isn't working out for me. And he said, okay, let's try you on something else. So he put me on Lexapro. He's like, Lexapro is a very common anti-anxiety medication that works for a lot of people. Let's put you on that. So he put me on Lexapro, and it never started working. Like, I gave it a good month to switch. And I mean, he had me switch cold turkey. He had me stop the one and then start Lexapro. And at the time I didn't know that that was not the best, where you teeter off of one medication and kind of go on to another, but you have some sort of overlap so your brain isn't like, WTF, you know? And Dorian, watch out for mommy's camera. And Lexapro never started working. It just made me feel awful. And I gave it a good 2 months, didn't like it, and told him I didn't like it. So he put me on Trintellix. And one, that medication is hella expensive. I don't know why it's not covered very well by insurance. And two, it wasn't working. Like, I started getting these huge bouts of nervousness. And it wasn't anxiety, but it was definitely nervousness. And I'm like, why? The whole point of going on medication was to help with anxiety, and now I have nervousness. Like, that makes no flippin' sense. So I decided to get off the, well, I just told him, you know what, I'm so frustrated with this whole process, because this was over like a year and a half that I had gone through these 4 different medications, whether it's the same medication in different dosages or it was different medication. Like, this was a good year and a half, and I was mentally tired, and I just was fed up, and I told him, I think I'm at the point where Paxil was my best out of the 3, so let's just, rewind and go back to Paxil. So he put me on Paxil at the lowest dosage that I had originally started off on, and it was fine. It was good for about 3 months, and then it started to feel like my body was getting acclimated, and anxiety started to arise again. But I kind of just held off and was like, hey, before you just automatically go switch in medication, let's try and just power through and see if you feel better. Which I did. I felt like a little hump, and I got through it. I was on it for about a good 5 or 6 months. I'm not gonna lie, I gained a lot of weight. I gained about 40 pounds in 4 months. I thought I was going crazy. I started having all these weird side effects on top of gaining weight. I was becoming forgetful. I was having a hard time finding words, the words that I wanted to say. I was having hot flashes, and I was gaining weight. It got to a point where the first couple of side effects were so strong that I went and got psychologically evaluated for ADHD. Granted, I do think I have ADHD. I learned that you don't just get ADHD as an adult. It's something this is by my therapist that said it. you tend to develop it as a child or in your adolescence. But the side effects were so strong, I seriously went and got psychologically tested. And then I was like, what the hell? Why am I getting so fat? Like, and like, there's nothing wrong with like gaining weight. Like, I don't want to say that, but gaining 40 pounds in 4 months has a lot bigger toll on you than just your physical look. Like, I was having a hard time moving around. That sounds a little dramatic. I was getting winded. I was getting winded a lot easier when I would try to do normal things that I normally would not be getting winded for. My feet were hurting. I noticed my feet would get really sore in all of my shoes, which were at one point comfortable. My bunions would start hurting, which was really weird. It was awful. And then on top of that, like, mentally, I'm like, I'm trying to work on my mental health by taking all these random medications. And here you go, like, la-di-da, you know, let's just throw some more crap into the mix. I talked to my therapist about it, and I told her, hey, I think I'm getting off of my medication because I don't like the way I look and the way I feel. Like, yeah, it's helping my anxiety, but now I have all of these other things that are stressing me out. Luckily, my therapist was super sweet and understanding. She's like, hey, I think you need to see a new psychiatrist. Dorian, he's so cute. Don't mind him. He's my little chatterbox. She's like, I think you need a new psychiatrist. Maybe a woman. Maybe someone that could relate and understand more to what you're going on mentally and physically. So she suggested a new psychiatrist, and I went to that office. Then that's where she taught me about the specific schedule of teetering off of one medication onto another. And then she explained like the do's and don'ts of like my previous situation and what I've gone through. And she decided to put me on something that had no alteration with the serotonin in your brain. She's like, obviously you've tried 3 medications that are focused on changing serotonin levels and increasing the amount that your body is producing. She's like, that's not working for you and for your body because everybody's different and everybody reacts differently to medication. She said, we're gonna put you on. Is my mental health journey funny to you, Dorian? He's like, Mommy, that's hilarious. Don't you know you had children? Anxiety ain't going anywhere now. But yeah, she's like, we're gonna put you on Buspar. Oh great, now he's doing things. We're gonna put you on Buspar. So I went on that. It's been, next week will be a month, so I'm in the 3-year mark. 3-year. I cannot like figure these out. This is probably a side effect of Paxil. I'm telling you. Like, if I say dumb stuff, we're just gonna blame it on Paxil. It's nothing to do with my intelligence or my ability to speak English fluently. It's Paxil. I've decided it's Paxil. Anyways, it's on week 3, and I feel like crap. I've been really dizzy. It's weird. Like, it feels like my equilibrium is off. I'll stand up really fast, and it's like, you know that feeling when you stand up, and it's kind of like your brain jolts a little bit. And you just feel like a little off. I get that, but I also feel like I just spent a week on the boat and now everything is just, life itself is in this constant like water ripple, which feels terrible. That's increasing my anxiety when I'm driving because I'm already dizzy while driving, and then that's scary, and that's kind of what would prompt my panic attacks before when I would drive. And I know it's a medication. Some days are better than others, but I just keep telling myself you're in the first month of transitioning onto this new medication, so just give it time, see if it works. She did say For 3/4 of the people that do take the medication, it works beautifully. But unfortunately, she said there is a quarter amount of people where it doesn't work at all. So I'm kind of waiting to see if maybe, you know, once my body gets adjusted to it, is it going to work? Is it not going to work? It's trial and error, and we have to wait and see. She also did put me on a blood pressure medicine. She said that because I have panic attack symptoms when I have anxiety, that it's a physical thing, and when I start to panic, my blood pressure starts to rise, and that is what starts causing the physical effects of my anxiety, like the palm sweating, the shaking, the shortness of breath, the blurred vision, and everything. It's elevating your blood pressure. So I think if you take blood pressure medicine, and it's a very small dose, she explained it's nowhere close to the amount that people take when they actually need it for their blood pressure, to control their blood pressure. She's like, it's a real small dose that we give people who have this type of anxiety and these type of symptoms produced from anxiety. So I've been taking that, and yeah, I mean, I have an appointment next Monday, and I'll talk to the doc that I'm seeing now. She's not actually a psychiatrist, she's a PA, but I love her, and I don't want to see anybody else. So I wanted to get on here and chat with you guys and talk about mental health. I do think that mental health is a lot more serious now, post-COVID, not just for me, but for everybody. COVID threw us all through the ringer in our own very own ways, no matter if it was life, family, work, socialization, anxiety. You know, there is no array of things that came out of dealing with COVID for a couple of years and being in lockdown and everything that followed that. I think mental health needs to be addressed more, and the more open we are about it and the more we talk to each other about it, the less of a stigma that gets put on it. Sometimes I'm a little uncomfortable talking about my own personal mental health because for me, I somehow see issues with mental health or anxiety linked to vulnerability, and then vulnerability linked to weakness. And sometimes I don't want to be seen in a certain light, so I give off a certain persona of I'm unaffected. But I do struggle with mental health in terms of anxiety, and I wanted to use this platform as a way to talk about it and hopefully, you know, open up to you guys and give you the courage and the strength to open up to those around you in your circle, your family, your friends, or even through an online platform where you don't really have to come, you know, actually know me or sit with me. Maybe the social anxiety is so strong that you don't want to leave your house, and honestly, I feel that. Sometimes I feel that, and sometimes it's nice being a stay-at-home mom now because I don't have to leave the house as much as I have to, or as much as I had to. So, which has pros and cons when it comes to anxiety and driving, because now I'm driving less. So I'm not really doing as much exposure therapy. But to be honest, right now, within this first month, I don't really want to drive because it sucks. Like, it sucks. So yeah, I hope this little series of, I plan on doing some anxiety update videos and vlogs for you guys to give you an update on the process with the medication and different side effects and different outcomes I'm having, or maybe some personal opinions that were shared with me from friends, family, medical professionals, whatever it may be. If this is something that you're interested, along with, you know, live, I plan on incorporating some baking. I really love to do that, and that actually helps my mental health a lot. Don't think it really helps with the weight gain, but you know, you win some, you lose some. I like to bake and then share with others. I'm not like sitting here with like a whole dish of cake eating them myself. So yeah, if you like this type of content, I would really like for you guys to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel. If you want to get updates on when my videos are go live, you can go ahead and click the little bell, and that way it can notify you. And if you will, you could please leave a sunflower in the comment section to let me know that you watched the whole video. It would be greatly appreciated. Alright guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?